Star Wars, the franchise that keeps on giving. And yeah, I'm doing another ranking. I did one last year. It went pretty well, so I'm going to do it again this year. Like last year, I'm going to be covering the good, the bad, and the ugly of Star Wars, but the difference is that a lot of these rankings are going to be different. A lot of the movies and shows will be ranked differently because they're going to be placed differently. Because over the past year, I did a lot of thinking, and I realized a lot of the movies and shows I've ranked, including the new ones, by the way, the new ones are here as well, that weren't in last year's. So a lot of them are going to be changed, and I'm really happy with this year. Now, if I'm going to change for next year's, do watch the end, because some stuff, a lot of the stuff has been changed. So that's one change. Another change, I'm not going to be going into in-depth stuff for a lot of these movies and shows because I already covered my full opinions and thoughts in our own dedicated videos. I have an entire playlist. You're going to see the card right now. You can go to that playlist, or at the end of the video I'll have the playlist again you can click on, because I do cover a lot of the shows and movies I'm going to be discussing here. So that's that. And with that out of all the way, let's get into the rankings. So what is going to be last place? Last place is obviously the holiday special. It's not even like a movie special. It's not entertainment. It's pain. It's torture. I don't know how to describe it. There's nothing else I can really give because I already gave my full thoughts on this like 2 times. And I don't like covering the bottom parts of this ranking because they're not fun. This isn't fun. I'm talking more about that than the actual thing because there's nothing of value in the holiday special. There's literally nothing except making a good entertaining video out of it, roasting the hell out of it. It's the only value there is. This piece of crap thing shouldn't exist, but it does. Coming in 31st, we have Ewoks Caravan of Courage. And the reason why it's here is because it's really, really, really boring. The reason why it's even above the holiday special is because it is at least a quote-unquote movie. It is some sort of entertainment. It's not good entertainment, but the new information I've learned is that originally Lucasfilm wanted to make this a half-hour long, and it was going to air on ABC. And they pitched it to ABC, and the executives at over ABC was like, no, we need to make this an hour-and-a-half movie. That's what we're doing. That's what you need for it to put on ABC. And so Lucasfilm had to go in and stretch the movie out by another hour, and that's why it's so boring. That's why I hate this film so much. It's so freaking boring, and it's long, and if it was a half hour long, it would be so much better, and it would have been placed up a couple more spots on my list, but no. Thanks, ABC, you ruined my enjoyment. Coming in at 30th place with Ewoks, A Battle for Endor. This is slightly better than Caravan of Courage, because this time it actually was made to be a movie. ABC didn't come in and was like, oh no, we have to scratch out. Nope, none of that. Lucasfilm knew what they were doing. Granted, it's still a bad movie because it's convoluted as hell, but people have nostalgia for it, and you can't really stop people from that. But these aren't good movies. But the Battle of Endor is a little bit more entertaining. It is actually paced much better, so it isn't like a drag. So I guess, you know, it's still terrible. Don't watch it, but if you're forced to watch it, it's not that bad. You're not gonna die of boredom from this. 29th place, we have the Droids show from the 80s, with C-3PO and R2-D2. Getting different owners and going on adventures. Thank God this isn't canon, because holy crap, this show is so boring and it drags out so much. The only reason why it's like right here is because at least it's Star Wars. It's the core of Star Wars. It's not just on a single planet like with the holiday special and the Ewok films. No, you're actually exploring different planets and different alien species and different concepts that have yet to be explored yet in Star Wars, so it has that. But the problem is that it's so ridiculously slow, and I feel bad for everyone that was involved in this. No one cares about this. It's probably I'm under the impression this show was created just to sell toys. That's probably what it was, and the show was supposed to be forgotten about, but here I am talking about it. But yeah, it's just simple place. I don't know. 28th, we have the Ewok show. You had the Ewok movies, now you have the Ewok show. I liked half of this show for the most part. You know, the first season was actually pretty decent. Then season 2 just gave me a middle finger, and I'm still mad about that, because like this could have been a really interesting show about the Ewoks and their culture and what they do, but no, because I mean the 80s, it was more focused on selling toys and rather the actual quality of the show, so it kind of just dropped after that. I don't know who owned this show, but they told the writers of this, hey, just don't try anymore. Make it as stupid as possible and generic as possible. Just make it just like the Smurfs. If you want, go watch the first season. Even though it is bad, it's not unwatchable. 27th, we have Forces of Destiny. Now, Forces of Destiny is a web series where it focuses on the female characters of Star Wars, and it's alright. It's nothing harmful. It's okay. I mean, it is basically meant for little girls to watch, and also it is meant to sell toys that I think failed, so it's not harmless. You can watch it on YouTube or on Disney Plus. It's not, like, unwatchable, but it's just not the Star Wars that they should be making, really, I guess. 26, we have Resistance, and I feel really bad about the Resistance show, because it could have been really good, and it could have been really expansive if the sequel trilogy would know. Disney had to step in and just say, no, you can't, because they're making a show when the sequel trilogy was being made, and they just didn't allow the crew and the writers to really expand the world. I mean, what were the film was meant to do? The show was meant to do what the films failed to do, which is to expand the world, and it didn't really do that, and that's why people have forgotten about this show, and it sucks, because once you get past the animation, it's not that bad, and I kind of liked it by the end, but because they just sort of stopped it, it's like, what's the point of, like, talking about it and rewatching it, because it's just this plot story that goes nowhere. 25th is the Clone Wars movie, and this shouldn't have been a movie. It's just the first 4 episodes of the Clone Wars show. Well, actually, no. The first, like, after I did an analysis of this movie, and, like, the first episode, the first 25 minutes is the first episode, and the rest of the movie is just a 3-part Jabba's son arc, so we're gonna call it, a rescuing Jabba's son arc. That's why I feel so disconnected. You know? Oh my god, it's here because it's not terrible. With, like, the rest of season 1 of the Clone Wars, it's not, like, unwatchable. It's just not everyone's cup of tea. The arc itself is not good, but the first 25 minutes are actually really good. So, honestly, if you really want to watch the Clone Wars movie, just watch the first 25 minutes, then you just turn it off. 24, we have The Rise of Skywalker, and as you can see, there's a major change, and it's The Rise of Skywalker because it is actually not a great film, and I remember last time I ranked this, the reason why I put it like way higher is because I thought it was really fun, and it's a fun, stupid movie, but as time went on, I started to realize this film is just dumb. It's dumb, and I'm just like, I don't want to see it again. I hate it. I thought I had the 5 stages of grief. I was sad, I was angry. Now I accept it. The film just exists. I can't do anything about it. 23, we have the Book of Boba Fett. Such a disappointing show. The only good part is it was The Mandalorian, and that's basically it. The first 4 episodes you can honestly just skip. If you're watching The Mandalorian, like if you're someone that doesn't know, the Book of Boba Fett takes place in between Season 2 and Season 3 of Mandalorian, but if you really want to watch the Mandalorian story, or in Grogu's story, like after you complete Season 2 of Mandalorian, just watch the 5th, 6th, and 7th episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and that's it, because this is not getting a Season 2. I don't, if it is, that's kind of a dumb decision, unless they really change the way they're gonna be making, because having a show be called Boba Fett and not have Boba Fett really do anything, or have him really be the character from the movies and like rest of the media that we've seen him in is kind of just disappointing. And you can have, because in the show he does change, which is good and all, but the problem is that there is no change, because the way he acts in the first episode is the same in the last episode, and it's just not good storytelling. 22 of The Last Jedi. Yep, it's here because The Last Jedi, I am sort of 50-50 on it. That's the thing. The Last Jedi is one of those movies that I'm going to forever be split on, because I like one half of it and I hate one half of it. And, stuff that I hate is just stuff that could have been reworked better. More specifically, the Luke Skywalker stuff should have been handled way better, because he's like the reason why everyone's going to be watching the movie. What they had could have worked if you explained it better, but you had these two perspective bullcrap that doesn't work in Star Wars. You can't have two perspectives. No, we need to know what happened, because the basis of the trilogy, and you just didn't give it to us. 21, we have EA Star Wars Battlefront 2, and this is a recent thing that I covered as of making this video. And I enjoyed EA Battlefront 2 campaign. It's really good when you're focusing on the legacy characters. The main issue is with the new character, Iden Versio, isn't really a developed character, and that kind of ruins the story. But that's not to say you can't just play the campaign, because it is still entertaining. Like, once Iden defects from the Empire, it's just going to different planets, just doing basic rebellion stuff, and that it just becomes a generic Rebels versus Empire story, which kind of sucks, because this premise of you being an Imperial Special Forces unit is a really interesting idea that they don't really do. Top 20, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo isn't a, notable Star Wars film. It's just there. It came out during Infinity War and Deadpool, and, it came out around that time. There's also the Star Wars fandom was boycotting it, and it was in the mix of the fandom war when after Last Jedi came out. Everyone hated Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and all that bullcrap, and just, it's a dark time. 2018 was a dark time for Star Wars, and glad we're out of it, but Solo got the short end of the stick. Could have had director change and just all this stuff, and it kind of hurt the film, because it's just normal. 19th was the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Now, the reason why he's here is because I really like the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader stuff. That's the highlight of the entire series, basically. But the rest of it kind of sucks. It doesn't, it's one of those things where I kind of hate, where it's you're trying to make yourself a sequel to Revenge of Sith, but it doesn't feel like an actual true sequel. If you watch Revenge of Sith, then this show, it's not going to feel the same. It doesn't have the same energy to it. Yeah, it may have the same actors in it, but it's not the same vibe, and it kind of ruins the experience, because, the production value isn't that great in the show. It just looks terrible. And I know I'm not going to say that for the rest of the shows and movies, but it's just, for this show specifically, the production looks really bad, and as time goes on, the more I look at it, the more it just does not look good, and it's not the actor's fault, it's just the management, it's just terrible. But everything else is just okay, but Obi-Wan and Darth Vader stuff is why you should watch this, because it is really, really good, especially the last episode. 18th place will be the Ahsoka series, and the Ahsoka series it's alright. This is not a good successor to Rebels. Honestly, it should have been Season 5 of Rebels, because putting it in the Disney Plus format really hurt the show. Having 8 episodes really hurt the show. Ray Stevenson's as Baylan Skoll is the best part of this series. It's a shame that he can't continue his work, because he sadly passed away, so it's a shame, but we got to see him in this role at least for one season of this show, because there'll probably be another season of this show. There are some people that really like this show, and that's great. That's fine. But I like some of this show. I like the Thrawn stuff. The Anakin stuff's great. It's just the core aspect of the show is the connection between Ahsoka and Sabine. That doesn't work, because they never really interacted before in the animated series, and there's no context for this series, so it's just fell flat. But everything else works. It's just that was the main thing of the show, and it did not work. But everything with Thrawn, Baylan Skoll, everything else worked very well. 17th is Visions, and this is a really, really unique thing, and the reason why it's above everything else is because of how unique it is, how you have the quality of stories, how you can have this really good string of really compelling stories, then you have others that are just, oh, this is just kind of stupid. But that's the whole point. It's just meant to be experimental. You let the animators and writers of different studios and different countries and different backgrounds let their creativity into an episode, and it made some of the best content in the Disney era in a very long time. 16th place, we have the Clone Wars micro-series, and just similar to Visions, where most of the episodes in the micro-series are just animation and not really dialogue, which can be a problem for some people like myself who like stories to have more dialogue in it. But for the most, this actually grew on me. Actually, I actually really appreciate what the micro series has done for Star Wars, because you have this very unique vision. It has nostalgic value for some people because they watched it when they were younger. I didn't watch it, but I do see the appeal now. It did take me some time to understand why this is so beloved, and it is a very great and unique show. 15th place, we have The Force Awakens. Oh, the memories of The Force Awakens. The reason why I mainly put it at 15th place is because of nostalgia. I am very nostalgic for The Force Awakens, the first ever Star Wars film I watched in the theaters, which is insane. Going to the movie theater and seeing the opening crawl and hearing the music and Star Wars popping up on the screen if I do watch it in the theater, because it's just something that's just one in a lifetime moment. You know, you can't, it's different when you watch it at home or on streaming. It's just, it has to be in the theater. And I'm talking more about the experience rather than the film, because the film itself is just a modernized A New Hope, basically, which isn't a bad thing. You know, I don't mind that it's just a copy. I understand that. Disney made clear they're going back to that original trilogy formula, and it worked out. It made $2 billion, so it worked out. A lot of people like it. I like the new characters. You know, it is set up, Rey, Finn, Poe, set them up very well. Too bad The Last Jedi got ruined, but that's the thing. The Force Awakens would have been better if The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker actually were great films, because it would have made The Force Awakens just better. And I think that was the point of that film, of this film, is to make it better over time with the new movies coming up. But because the sequel trilogy failed to have a plan, that just didn't work. So The Force Awakens is just a good nostalgia trip of a better time in the Star Wars fandom. 14th, we have Tales of the Jedi. Now, Tales of the Jedi is a pretty interesting show, because all the way up here at number 14, there's only 6 episodes, which means I really like this. I like the Dooku episodes and I like the Ahsoka episodes, because they are split into 3 and 3. The Dooku episodes are all really good, and very, very good Star Wars, and a lot of people seem to agree with me as well. And the Ahsoka episodes, the first one when she was a baby isn't that good, at least in my opinion. It's not bad, it's just not my cup of tea. But the other 2 episodes of Ahsoka are good as well. And overall, if I like 5 out of 6 episodes, then they're really good. 13th, we have The Bad Batch. And The Bad Batch is a good show for me. I know a lot of people just don't like the show. I mean, I understand why, because it's not really a funny show. It's mainly just, it's a show where it's just the adventure, and that's it. And it's whether or not you like the concept of the adventure that the characters are going on, rather than you liking the characters personally. Because there are people that like, you know, each member of the Bad Batch, like, oh, I like this one or that one more. I don't see how, because they're all pretty bland. Like, Dee Valley Baker voices all the characters in the show, except for like a couple, and he can't really do a whole lot because his vocal cords are gonna blow out if he does that. But like, sure, yes, you can like one over the other, even though they're all basically the same thing, same like mundane dialogue. But you know, like I said, it's about the adventure rather than the characters, and some of the adventures that go on some of the episodes are really, really well done, and it's a continuation of the Clone Wars, which is really great. Honestly, The Bad Batch just feels like an extension of the Clone Wars. 12, we have Rogue One, and Rogue One is very special because it's the first spin-off film, and to me, I find it very just special as well, because it is this film that, yeah, I don't want to rewatch all the time, because mainly the final act, the Battle of Scarif, Darth Vader showing up at the end, the hallway scene, that's mainly why people watch it, and that's why people rank it very high. But even with the first 2 acts, it is sort of good, especially when Andor is out now. It kind of reframes Rogue One in terms of like what the style of this, like, I guess, style of Star Wars is, of like this more serious tone. And with Rogue One, it makes like, it sort of blends the 2 together, of like the classic, what we know of Star Wars, and more of this darker, realistic side of it. You're in a Star Wars experience rather than following these characters, because you don't have to know the characters' names to be invested in the story. It's weird. Rogue One's a weird movie where it's not really about characters. It's just a line in the opening crawl of A New Hope, and now they made a movie about it, and it worked out. Number 11, we have the Jedi series, and the reason I put both these together, which you may argue is kind of cheating, but I do consider the Jedi games like Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor as like similar to the shows. Like with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch has 2 seasons, or well, it's gonna have 3 seasons soon. Jedi Survivor, or I guess the Jedi series, is gonna have 3 games soon. So that's why it's like a show. Imagine it as a show. And that's why I combined it as both, because there's going to be people who are going to be like, why did you put it together? But both Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are very, very well done games. And I'm going to try not to spoil them because they are video games, and I do want you to experience the video games yourself. The characters are great. Cal Kestis is a very good main character and very likable. Even his friends that you meet along the way, Marin, Seer, Greaves, they're all very great characters. BD1 is probably the best helper droid you can imagine, and EA barely touched them, so they're not pay to win or not corporate at all. They're all genuine single player experience that you're gonna have a great time with. Top 10 we have The Mandalorian. Now The Mandalorian is a good show. It's a very, very good show, but it's not this perfect show. Now people do overhype this show a lot, saying there's like this 1 in a million perfect show that like is gonna change your view and everything. No, it's not. It's just a good show, and that's what it is. It created this whole Mandoverse, all the other Disney Plus shows, like the Book of Boba Fett, the Ahsoka series, so on and so forth. And the characters that are in it, Mando and Grogu, best duo ever, one of the best duos ever in Star Wars. It is a really good show. Basically, the first 2 seasons are basically perfect. Yeah, I think the first season is a bit boring. Like 5 out of the 8 episodes I would consider to be good. The middle episodes are kind of whatever and sort of are boring, sort of, but season 2 is actually perfect. Like all 8 episodes well, actually the 7 episodes are good. The second episode of season 2 kind of sucks, but every other episode in that season is fantastic. Even season 3, even though, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have had Mandalorian, the Mando and Grogu, you shouldn't have probably have Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett, but, you know, whatever, because season 3 is still decent enough. Like, there are still good episodes in season 3. I think it gets too much hate because it's not that terrible. I guess because my expectations aren't as high as other people's, because, like I said, I don't really see this show as a highlight. Like, there are people who think this show is, like, next coming of Christ. Like, it's just that high of a pedestal people put the show on, but it's not. You know, it's not. And so, my expectations are a lot lower, and, like, the stuff that was in season 3 I don't really care about, so it's a lot of memorable scenes. It has a lot of very powerful, touching moments that will possibly make you cry. I mean, they make me cry, but people have cried from it. And, yeah, it's just a good show with a lot of passion to it, and that's why it's top 10. Number 9, we have Andor. Now, Andor is the most mature thing that Disney has ever made. Like, this is such a weird thing. Like, Andor should have been a George Lucas thing. I feel like George Lucas made this, but it's not. This is a Disney thing, and it's crazy because this show is very, very good. It's very good because this is the last Disney Plus show I'm covering because it's the best one out there. It's really good, but it's a slow burner, which is a problem because the first 2 episodes are very boring, and I was not really getting into the show until the 3rd episode where there's actually like action going, like actual action, and after that it was good. Now one thing, reason why it's number 9 is because Tony Gilroy, who created the show, basically creates a chessboard. From episode 4 onward, he's creating this chessboard with all these pieces, all these characters that he can move around to different places around the galaxy or in different places on some planets. And it's really interesting how he did that, because by the final episode, all those chess pieces come together, and it just creates one of the most chaotic and well-deserved finales of a season. Number 8, we got Rebels. And Rebels is one of those shows that I haven't really, like, I was not really invested in Rebels when I first started watching it. I was like, okay, this is, yeah, it's alright. But I think by the 3rd season, actually by the season 2 finale, I was like, god damn, this show's actually really good. And I really got invested in season 3, but by season 4, I just said screw it to the episode list I was watching. I just watched every single episode in season 4, or most of season 4, in my first sitting. Because the main reason why this is at number 8 is because of the Ghost crew. The main crew are all very well done. They all have their own episodes that really fleshes them out. And as time goes on, you really get to feel these are like this actual family, like a built family. Season 1 isn't really great. It's just whatever, just generic kids content. Yeah, there's like a couple that are great. I recommend watching the last 3 episodes of the season because they are actually the best 3 episodes. Well, actually, you know, the 5th episode is actually good. There's a couple of them that are great. Watch an episode guide for the first season, but for like season 2 onward, it's great overall. Like, all the filler episodes are good. Like, people have a problem with filler. I don't. I like all the filler episodes, or most of them. Number 7 is Attack of the Clones. And this is probably the most shocking, or I guess one of the most shocking things that are changed from last year, because I had this down very low on the bottom of my list. And you may say, what changed? A lot of things that I found being very negative were mainly with, like, the editing and, like, the whole romance thing with Anakin and Padme, but I kind of came around to the romance thing, but I kind of realized love isn't really a, like, normal thing. Like, people love each other for like, really weird reasons. But I understand where George Lucas was coming from. Yeah, people fall in love in different ways, and, like, that's just how Anakin and Padme fell in love, and that's just how it is. And I just, you know, have much more appreciation of the film, and so I couldn't just leave it at the bottom. It's way better than a lot of stuff I talked about previously, so that's why it's just here at number 7. 6, we got The Phantom Menace. Now, The Phantom Menace, the reason why it's above Attack of the Clones and everything else is because I really like the vibe of The Phantom Menace. It's one of those movies where visually it looks very distinct. The prequel trilogy is a live-action cartoon. Well, if you accept that, it just makes the film so much more better, because you apply cartoon logic, and just stuff doesn't make sense if you think about it logically, but it's just in a cartoon it makes sense. And hopefully I'm saying that correctly, because this is how I feel. It's just a child's imagination come to life. There's so much ideas in The Phantom Menace that work, but at the same time don't work. Yeah, I just like the film. Like, it's not really a kid's film. It's more of a adult film, but it's still advertised as a kid's film. Like, it's a weird mix. It's both an adult film and a kid's film, and I don't really see it as a flaw anymore. It's more as just this weird mixture of stuff. Number 5, we have Return of the Jedi, and this is a really good finale to the original trilogy and the complete saga. Not so much to the Skywalker saga, but you know what, 2 out of 3 is pretty good. And it's sort of weird because it's sort of in retrospect, this isn't really a good finale to the complete saga like the prequel trilogy, because the first act of this film is sort of pointless and not really related to anything else. It's just rescuing Han from Jabba. Yeah, there's a lot of cool alien designs in there, but it doesn't really help the story at all, and Han does nothing in the movie, so the whole point of rescuing him is pointless, but that's sort of the fun of this movie. And the main meat of Return of the Jedi, the reason why people love this movie, and including myself, is the conflict between Luke, Vader, and Palpatine, that final battle, and even Endor and the whole, you know, the space battle, everything's just perfect. It's the perfect way to end off this complete saga, the original trilogy. 4th place, we have the Clone Wars show. Yes, the 2008 show, and it ended in 2020, that Clone Wars. And I really love the Clone Wars show. It is one of my favorite Star Wars shows and shows in general. It's my new favorite show. I even love the earlier seasons. I know a lot of people don't like the earlier seasons, but I love them. You know, I'm one of those people that gets to like everything about the show. And it's just the way it is. It's an anthology-style show, and it is pure Star Wars. It is. The stars align, and we got one of the best animated shows ever, and one of the best shows ever. If you're someone that likes a lot of anthology-style stories, where each story is sort of its own bubble, but some of them are sequels to others. Like, there is a main story in the show, but if you like a show that is just mainly anthology-style stories, then this is a show for you. 3rd place, we got Revenge of the Sith. What haven't I said about this movie that I haven't already? It's one of those films that is both funny, memeable, sad, and depressing, and it had made me shed a tear. But that was more so the Clone Wars show rather than the film itself. The prequel trilogy is a live-action cartoon. If you can accept this as a live-action cartoon, then you'll find way more enjoyment in this, because the logic in this film doesn't work. But if you treat it like it's a cartoon, like it's animated, like pretend like there's a Clone Wars arc, like it's animated, then it works very well. That's not me saying that it doesn't work in live action. I'm saying it's a child's imagination. George Lucas tapped into his childlike imagination and made a film that has everything in it, and for that is very heavy with a lot of stuff. Most of the things are nitpicked. It doesn't matter to me, because like I said, it's a live action cartoon, deal with it, but that's why I get to love Revenge of the Sith. 2nd place is A New Hope. This is where everything started with Star Wars, and the reason why I like it so much is because it's a very, very well thought out movie, and it was a giant risk for George Lucas to make, and the film itself worked very well. It's basically, you're entering this entire different universe, and this film came out in 1977, and it doesn't feel like you're watching a 70s movie. It escapes time, and it becomes this timeless movie where anyone from any age can watch it, or any time. Like someone from 100 years from now can watch A New Hope and not feel dated. Yeah, the camera quality isn't the best, and that's probably the only thing that you can tell this was made a very, very long time ago. Besides that, it's pretty timeless, because the way they made this movie is insane, and it holds up extremely well. And yes, the first half of this movie is very, very boring, but that's the point, because they need to establish its universe. The reason why Star Wars stuck with so many people, the reason why I'm here making this video is because of this movie. It set up everything very, very well. It made everything clear to the audience what this universe is, what the Force is. So for that, for this historically important movie, because this shaped cinema forever, it's just one of those films that just works. The more time you see it, the better it gets. And of course, number one is The Empire Strikes Back. What can I say about this movie? It does everything better than A New Hope, hence why it's number one. Now, personally, I would rank A New Hope first, but, you know, just by the quality itself, The Empire Strikes Back clearly is the better film out of the two. And it is not only the perfect movie, but it's a perfect sequel. It's basically perfect in every way. It's one of those movies where you can just get immersed instantly. Darth Vader is the main show. He's the reason, like, this movie makes Darth Vader the villain that everyone fears, and what other Star Wars projects try to emulate. To a lot of people, this is the last good Star Wars film, and it kind of sucks, because, you know, after this, people are just complaining about everything. Like I said, The Empire Strikes Back is one of those perfect movies. I can't really say much about it, because I already said everything that I wanted to say. I guess the final thing to say is thank you, George Lucas, thank you everyone who worked on the movie for making one of the best things ever in science fiction and pop culture, because without it, the zeitgeist, whatever it's called, wouldn't be the same without it. So thank you all. As I said in the beginning, this is not going to be the final ranking I'm going to do. I'm going to do one next year if life doesn't get in the way. But yeah, stuff's going to be changing as I grow up. These movies and shows sort of change my perception over time. Movies I didn't like, or shows that released when it first came out I did like, now I don't anymore. Whether it be positive, negative, because a lot of the Disney stuff I put lower down the list, I moved it down. Where all the George Lucas stuff, I moved to the top. And that's just what it's going to be. And with that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, because I really appreciate it, because I spent a lot of time working on this video. This video takes a long time to make. It's all over now. The video's over. I'm glad with the result. I'm glad with this video. I'm happy with the result. So if you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe, and go now. So, goodbye everyone.